young people who are exploring and want to bring more juice into what they're doing or more relevance into what they're doing, or to have their work not only be fun for them, but to have meaning for those probably in the market. And I find that creativity, for me, is a release of energy, some unconscious release or conscious release of energy. And the creativity, the art, is a byproduct. You almost could say it's the wake of the real moment. But you can release energy. It could be angry energy. It could be feel-good energy, just sort of... And if I were to do that while interacting with a medium that's pre-tuned, a prepared medium, releasing energy in close proximity to a prepared medium, then you would hear music that sounds interesting. You would have art that looks interesting. And the person who comes and looks at the art says, wow, I feel the energy of that. So creativity, at my point, is intentionally connecting or aligning energy and then releasing it before an audience or in a studio. Mindful release of energy, and to help it to become more palatable to whoever's going to enjoy it, you of course work on your art, whether it's doing calisthenics or you examine the themes that you want to bring to the table. And then you get into a state, however you do it, align, intention, and then energy, you release energy. And the release of energy, monitored by whatever format or what do you call it when you work through a medium, the medium, whatever medium you are releasing through, picks it up and becomes a reflection of that release of energy. That's one thing, a creativity in that way. When I look at art or listen to music, I feel I'm listening to release of energy, a release. Sometimes it's a mindless release. You just go and scream and kick and yell and strum your guitar and make $1 billion.
Yeah, and actually, I'm curious, like how you might define. I don't want to say that, like, make a difference of inferiority or superiority about certain kinds of music and others, but there's obviously it could be more defined by like intention or like a depth, in some cases a depth, of course, of understanding or wisdom or whatever, meaning like how do you look at, if you're speaking to like a young person about creativity and you're speaking to this person that you would be encouraging to explore the deepest capacity of their aspirations or their potential, like how would you align them versus like an interest in just pop music versus, or like what if they were, like what kind of suggestions would you make, and how would you differentiate the landscape of what's popular in music these days and what you would interpret as a higher form of energy, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, good question there. Well, I've been exposed to music. Educational-wise, I've been exposed to a wide range of music, and listening to music, you say, oh, that sounds good. I'd like to do that. In fact, I can do that. Or you hear vocal music, or you have an experience listening to other people's music, and then I try to imitate it. You know, there are the 3 stages. You imitate, and then you mix and match what you imitate with, and then you discover yourself, your language. So that's one understanding, that a 3 system: imitate, then experiment with what you're imitating, and then you discover your language. But then there's the music of releasing for therapy, so you're not concerned about what it sounds like to someone else. You feel good, you release, it reflects, you get into your whole body, your breath opens up. But there are some things that you want to do when finding optimal music, and that you want to find music that lets you breathe, lets you be connected to your breath, that can represent a human physique that is in ease and in comfort and also maybe a mind or emotionality that is aligned with the divine. So you have practices, spiritual practices. You don't have to call them spiritual practice. You can call them feel-good practices, introspective practices, contemplative practices, or get into meditation, and then you'll be able to bring to your release an understanding that you're not just releasing within a third dimension, within four walls. You'll come to a place where realizing you're actually embracing the sky, like Jimi Hendrix says, pardon me while I kiss the sky, that you can move beyond the apparent world and move into the non-apparent space. And releasing there, I find I get more bang for my buck. Release into the non-apparent space, which is the universal presence.
Do you see that as, and do you actually kind of, in a way, self-define it, that when you're doing music, often it's like an offering?
It's a service and an offering. Yes, I usually use that term a lot, music offering, so that there is a sense of service involved, a sense of kindness, nurturing, and the suggestion of a gift that hopefully this will enhance some aspect of your experience.
But you're talking more about like the audience, like present, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that an offering. To do it alone, you can
Do you
offer
ever
it.
do you offer it though to like a deity or like to whatever you would call like an omnipresent? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes, but there I would say I'm offering it to you can call it my higher self or my absolute self. Then the term deity, the Hare Krishnas try to impress that God is in the deity, and when you offer to the deity, you're really offering it to God. I was slow to get on board with that one, because there's God's in that rock, that Morty, and it's not in that Coke bottle. Wait, that. So I'm into the universal space, that they're offering it to universal space now, as opposed to any particular person. And on that line, not bowing to anybody in particular, bowing as an offering of respect and conscious awareness into a universal field that's present. Even if I'm bowing and it looks like I'm bowing in your direction, it's okay for you to feel grand about it. But I'm also bowing into the absolute field, and the absolute field is indeed where you are. So I'm bowing into everyone's absolute field.
so. I mean, essentially by seeing the non-duality or emptiness in every single person.
Yes.
You're offering, and when offering to the audience, it can also be simultaneously viewed. The correct view of it would be that you are offering it into whatever kind of deity that you could self-define at that moment, or the deity is, because the deity is residing within that
Yes.
combination of aggregates and matter and spirit that's in front of you in that moment.
Yes, that comes up
That's
big time in
beautiful, yeah.
Shivaratri ceremonies, where we're pouring ghee and cannabis onto the Shiva lingam.
Where these are ceremonies that you do
Yeah, they
at
happen
home, or
as a rotating
No,
yearly event
at-
called Shivaratri. It happens all
in-
night long.
All night.
People
at
chant.
The, at the ashram.
Oh, at the ashram.
It's a 24-hour.
okay, at Ananda.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and
Some-
I'm sure
some ashrams-
many-
Yeah, but this is a Shiva.
Shiva Ratri is a festival holiday.
Yeah.
That would be at many ashrams. And it doesn't have to be ashrams. It could be anywhere people who practice Shiva Ratri. So it's an all-night. Steve Gorn has played at
Yeah.
it. We've played. Then you rotate, but for 24 hours it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And
This
you-
is like a Hindu festival, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you usually end about 8 o'clock in the morning, and then there's a big feast. But Shiva, as I mentioned earlier, offers the cannabis flower. And so the Shiva Ratri in very real rituals include bong, which is ghee or milk fused with cannabis, and you drink that, and so you can imagine where we're
It
going
has
with this.
psychoactive
Yeah.
properties.
Uh-huh.
There. It's like full, like a...
And there, you're immersed in intention. You're chanting Shiva, and so there, your psychoactive experience is aligned. The intention is aligned within the Shiva.
And it's
Story.
a communal experience,
Yes.
and that's
Yeah.
very important. And that's something I would underscore to young people, especially, the, how relative, not just relative, how vital communal, genuine communal experience is.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think that your generation and subsequent generations are craving that and finding it. But I think our generation moved away from it. It became all this individual,
Yeah.
bow to the individualized, independent, unique, instead of what is the collective, what is this thing that is our common humanity. For me, when I am at my best in whether it's performance or just being present at something, and it may be a big part of the energy work that I do, I tap into a maternal sense. So whether I'm with one person or an entire audience, I can feel it in me. I can feel like, oh, I love these people. And I look out and I see them as children. I see the child aspect, because for me that's the most resonant, and it ties into my Hellenic, my Pythagorean, that fifth interval of the fifth that the child resides in. I truly believe that our most expressive essence of its highest form resides in our purity, our child quality, that sometimes just gets so pushed down, whether you are a little child or you're 90, and it's always there. So to be genuine and expressive and connecting to your child energy, and if that's done through just centering, through stillness, and I think that's a big piece too. When Laaraji was talking, the points to precede that imitative quality, that being inspired by someone and trying to emulate, first center yourself, and that's different things to different people. But really, I think the energetics that Laaraji spoke to, for me, really is the recognition of our connectedness. And it really does bring up in me this maternal sense. Like I want to go out and hug everyone. So I kind of picture this warmth coming out of us when we're on stage, just like this warmth coming out, like a big energetic hug, and embracing people. And when people are receptive to that, it's magical.
Are you reciting things in your mind, or are you just kind of like it's more just a feeling, or like
it's more experiencing a feeling that it just comes up in me. It just does. And it's more a feeling. Sometimes I can say something internally, and I'll catch someone's eye, and more often than not, I think Laaraji can vouch this, when that happens after a show, there's a lot of tears. There's people who come up in tears saying, I don't know what just happened, but I can't stop crying. It feels good. They have release.
Yeah.
Because they don't know, but they know on the NOUS scale.
Yeah.
There's a knowing that they're in a safe space that they can emote and not be embarrassed. And that happens a whole lot when we do laughter work. People are stunned when they cross over that little fine line from hearty laughter into tears. So we always try to mention up front that that might happen, and please don't shut it down. And it's equally as beneficial.